Welcome back to another special edition of the Big Brain MMA podcast, episode 2. The first episode went really well. It was about full-time MMA betting. I thought I could offer a quick video based on that. I appreciate all the kind words on it. So obviously from here on out, this is going to be a regular thing. I'm your host, Big Steve, full-time MMA gambler from Australia. Like and subscribe, and let's get this episode going, right? So topic for this episode is tilt and betting on tilt.
Shouts out Big Steve.
Being tilted, or tilt, is by definition, according to Google, is when you lose your emotions and you lose your composure during gambling and you start making irrational decisions. Obviously, that is a massive no-no in gambling. The main thing about gambling is staying composed and keeping emotions out of it. So I thought it was a very good topic to cover, whoever recommended it on YouTube. I also have gone through massive tilt this year back in April, which, was a big shock to me because, going into the 6th year of gambling, I really didn't think I could be affected by something like that. Obviously, each year I make a bigger profit and I say to myself, I'm not going to make these mistakes anymore. They're quite obvious. I'm not going to make this mistake. But something like tilt, it can affect you from your life in general, nothing to do with gambling. It could be unforeseen circumstances, personal circumstances, whatever affects your mental state, it can put you into tilt. And then one or two bad decisions in MMA, which happen very often. It's a very volatile sport. It can rear its ugly head in your gambling, and then everything just goes downhill. So it's a very important topic. So a good episode to cover. So we'll get straight into it. So obviously the number one thing to avoid tilt is have your mental capacity sorted, right? Or your mental clarity. Obviously, mental is one of the most important things when it comes to betting. I think that's an episode in its own. I'll most likely make in the future. I swear by mentality all the time. But yeah, obviously tilting is a state of losing your mental clarity, right? And making emotional mistakes. If you don't have your mental right, it's a high likely chance that you're going to get affected. If your mentality is correct, and I feel like myself after many years, I'm someone that have honed it in and, I bet every single week, multiple times a week, and I go through, robbery decisions, volatile results in an outcome where my fighter's winning, loses, injuries, things like falling over, landing on their thumb, breaking the thumb, the ref calls it after you're winning. This is part of the game, and best off just to accept it and try never get upset by it and just laugh at it. All you can do is laugh at it. Everything that comes around in terms of bad variance, that goes around, will come back around and you'll get good variance and it all evens out. That's the best way to handle it. Obviously, like I said, there's other things that can affect you outside of gambling situations. That's why mental is so important. Little things that you can do is, exercise, be grateful. I always say when things are going wrong for me, I'm grateful that I'm up. 40,000, 30,000 or whatever it is, even if it's early in the year, I'm grateful that I can do this for a living. It just makes me forget about my result because this is a long-term game. Always stay positive. Now, this is not a wellness channel, so I'm not going to bang on about improvement channel, what you should do, but it's important not to stress because stress is, a massive killer. And if you're going to gamble for a living, you're going to be watching fights every single week and stressing incredibly every single week. It's not good for your health. It's not good for anything. And it's just going to contribute to tilt. Remember to fix your mistakes, stay grateful, and do things like exercise, sleep well. Sleep is very important just to keep your head straight. So it keeps the tilt away, no matter the bad results. Step 2 is another little thing that's going to improve with the mentality aspect, and that is keep a good balance. For years and years, I just wouldn't have any balance whatsoever because I'm obsessed with gambling and taping fights. I would constantly watch them. I've done things like all-nighters. I've taken too much coffee or supplements to increase my brain power, my taping, my research skills. These things, they might contribute and help you with your taping process in the short term, but they all take something out of your body. They burn your adrenals, you're overthinking, you can't sleep. That ultimately, it tires out your body and your brain and your mental, and eventually just, again, makes you more susceptible to being tilted when something crazy happens in MMA, right? You have to be zen, you have to be relaxed. So if you don't have a good balance, you're going to drain yourself out, right? And this is hard for me, especially when I became full-time. I went even more overboard. Instead of using the free time I had from not having a 9-to-5 job to just have a good balance, I went 10 out of 10 into focusing on gambling, right? As you can imagine, that's not good. If you just overwhelm yourself with gambling all the time, 24/7, it's going to dawn on you, especially if you're not looking after yourself. So have a good balance, spend more time with your partner, with your family, with your dog. Train. I like to train, jiu-jitsu, just anything. Watch a movie, wind down, stop at like 5 or 6. I know if you stop at 5 or 6, it's kind of like a 9 to 5 anyway, but I stop at around 8 p.m. and make it fun. If you're your own boss when it comes to gambling, then be a good boss to yourself. One of my sharpest friends told me that don't overwork yourself when the whole point of working for yourself is you can be your own boss. You might as well treat yourself nice. Good balance, it goes hand in hand with good mentality. It's going to look after your mental state. Also, in terms of good balance, tilt doesn't happen overnight. For me, I recently just, at the time of recording this video, I had a very tilting experience. Not the April one, but just we're in August now. I could feel it coming on. I woke up for a 3 a.m. card in Australia, European card, and I really didn't like it. And I was like, why did I wake up at 3 a.m.? I have no bets. And that was just like a dreadful and like a depressing feeling, which comes after you kind of get over it. And I never usually get over UFC, even though I do it every day. You know, if you're obsessed by it, you don't get over it. But the fact that I was getting over it, I had some, sideways results, some volatile results. It was telling me that maybe tilt was coming. And before I could get on top of it, I had a massive loss. It's not going to come overnight, but it's important. If you have a good balance, you can keep it away, right? And forget about it before it catches up to you. The most important part, I would say, and this step right here, the last step is once you're tilted, the best thing to do is just stop cold turkey. Just stop gambling right then and there. When you're tilted, you're making irrational decisions, emotional decisions. That's a big no-no. You don't want to be doing that. It's a good way to burn the bankroll. Back in April, when I had one of my worst tilting experiences in years, as an experienced bettor, I did not expect that. I was just making horrible bets. I just started a Discord at the worst time, having the worst results, and I just kept compounding it by literally throwing away money on bets that I didn't think would hit. And I thought they had a decent chance of losing. I was self-sabotaging and said, all right, let's see how bad this tilt can really be. And I just kept throwing losing bets on, and they kept losing. And I was kind of just putting the fuel on the fire. It's the worst thing to do for your bankroll. Gambling is really hard. Can be easy. We go through periods of really easy, straightforward bets, and when you just think to yourself, man, anyone can do this. But then when you go through the hard times, you don't want to be throwing away your money. I always preach, don't protect your capital, be disciplined. So when you tilt it, that all goes out the window. And the only way to stop that is just to stop. You're not going to make that money back in that period because you're not making rational decisions. Learned the hard way. The tilt was so bad for me in April, I honestly considered going back to a full-time job that I hated. Even though I built this bankroll, built my skills, built everything for 5 years, and I've gotten here, I felt like throwing it all away because I just felt so horrible. I felt like this is not worth it. The stress is not worth it. Everything looked horrible, and luckily some friends talked me out of it. And the break that I took cold turkey is the best thing that I could have done. Take a full break. There's little activities you can do as well. What I like to do is wash the house. Things that you hate doing that need to be done. Clean the house, wash your car. Takes things completely off your mind about gambling. Exercise obviously is a common one. And yeah, I just spent the whole day, turned off all my socials. All my socials remind me of MMA and betting. Turned them all off, turned off the Discord. I told my paying customers I'll be back after a day. And what I did, I came back fresh. I forgot about my losing. I forgot about all the bad feelings because they were all out of my brain after 24 hours of a break. And I just tackled the card with a fresh mind. And I think I swept it, made over 3,000, hit every bet. There was one bet I cashed out, that one as well. Once you're tilted, obviously you want to prevent it. But once you're there and it's too late to prevent it, you just have to stop cold turkey and wait until your brain is clear and start again. It's hard, especially if you're doing it full time. You want to keep going. You want to make the money back, but you're not going to make it back if you're tilted. Trust me. I lost too much money to know being tilted it's no good. It's no good. So we'll quickly go over the steps. Obviously, the most important thing, and in general, have your mental state correct. I will talk about it in another video. Have good balance. That's going to go hand in hand with keeping your mental state. Don't just focus on gambling 24/7. Reward yourself. Go for dinners. Gambling is not everything. End of the day, it's just like a job, and you want to have a good work-life balance. All right, so enjoy yourself as well as gamble. And number 3, if you are tilted, just stop cold turkey till the tilt stops. You're going to lose more money than you win in a tilting state. So yeah, that's episode 2. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As I said, this is going to be a full-time thing, at least for the time being, or at least until I run out of topics. Thank you for listening. Thanks for leaving suggestions. Please leave some more suggestions so I can have a nice little list and pump these out for you each week, maybe every 2 weeks. We'll see how we go. And yeah, like and subscribe. Talk soon.